Welcome to the Conscious Wellbeing Podcast. It's a podcast about how we can navigate to become more conscious, to understand our well-being, where we look at the intricacies of leadership, what's happening in artificial intelligence today, as well as navigating our life purpose and where we are going to move in our lifetime. And today's guest is Lee-Ann Naidoo. Welcome, Lee-Ann Naidoo.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. Let me do an introduction. Lee-Ann Naidoo is the National Director of Mrs. Supranational South Africa and the reigning Mrs. Supranational Tourism Queen Ambassador Worldwide 2025, a title she claimed in Yangon, Myanmar, making her the first Indian South African to hold this prestigious international crown. Her journey is one of the extraordinary depth, professionally trained pastry chef, proud mother of 3, survivor of gender-based violence. She was crowned Mrs. Grand South Africa in 2023, represented Sub-Saharan Africa at the Women of the Universe pageant in Istanbul Top 25. Now leads the Mrs. Supranational South Africa platform, whose founding purpose is empowerment, integrity, unity, and purpose. That is a mouthful. And welcome. And please tell us about your journey, the impact you have made, and how have you come through all the challenges and obstacles in life thus far?
So, firstly, I would just like to say thank you for having me on this platform. Yes, it is a mouthful, and sitting here listening to you, mention all my accolades. I have come a very far way in 3 years. And the challenges faced, the truth is, I put my head down and I focused on my dreams, on my becoming, on being a better version of myself than I was yesterday. And I did that as a single mom to impact my children so they wouldn't be affected by divorce or the stigma of having a single mom. And I put my head down and I focused on my dreams. And what happened was I realized that other people were watching me. They were inspired by my story. And, once upon a time in my life, it was a birthday and I received 5 birthday wishes. And I sort of sat back and it's like, if I passed away right now, there would be 5 people at my funeral. And that would be my kids and my immediate family. Last year, I received over 1,500 Facebook messages wishing me well, telling me I'm such an inspiration. People actually drawing strength from my obstacles. And the truth is, looking back now, yes, I am a GBV survivor, but the hills and the valleys sort of level out. I think that I needed to go through that journey so I could refine my purpose, so I could form this platform and advocate to other women out there who've experienced what I've experienced, the trauma, the stigma, but also at this age, I'm 46 years old. So to actually be able to achieve this in the latter of your life, knowing the trials and tribulations you faced, the hills and valleys sort of level out and you understand why you had to walk through that. So you could actually be the voice and advocate for the causes that literally there's no voice to, or there is nobody standing up and actually deciding this is what my purpose is. So today I stand in front of you as an empowered woman, as a queen, but just like every other woman, I've walked through fire to get here. And it is possible. So hope, as long as you have breath in you, endless possibilities can arise. So the challenges didn't define me. I actually feel I'm walking in my true purpose now.
Wow. You talk about GBV, and South Africa is we can look at it as a pandemic that's happening in South Africa, where men and women don't fully understand or can be oblivious to it, and we have these large platforms that try to engage people. And I noticed that Mrs. Supranational South Africa is empowering, whether it's married women, divorced women, women of different backgrounds, that you bring in about this understanding that, you know, you can overcome your past. You can overcome the challenges that you go through. For you, being a GBV victim,
I want to
how is this?
correct you.
Yes,
Survivor, not
survive.
victim.
Very true. How has it shaped you in these last few years? You know, you've been a single mom as well, and going through this journey, and you find more women that look at themselves as victims, and you want to be a survivor, and you want to survive and thrive in life, but you can hold back onto your past sometimes. How did you get over that? What made you become stronger and more impactful and say, no, I don't want to experience this. I don't want to be in the state that I currently was at.
The past is the past. You went through it to experience it and to learn and to grow and to evolve from it. The past can never define your future. And you need to understand these are all learning curves. I can't say that I deserved it but I do know that the lessons learned from it. Listen, my jaw was fractured. My face could have been disfigured. So for me, walking the stage to become a queen is because I was told, you'd never amount to anything. And it was sheer determination that I knew I was better. I am not what other people define me to be. And I'm most definitely not what society expects me to be. So you learn from the past. You can't hold on to the past. And I just want to let you know, your future is self-orchestrated. You define your legacy. And when you can realize that I'm not a victim, I'm a survivor, and I've overcome what was set out to destroy me or to kill me. And when you can move past that mentality, do you know, I can't look at what happened to me 15 years ago and say I am a product of that, because then I wouldn't have learned, grown, and evolved to be the woman I am today, to actually be able to lead other women in this space. But in all honesty, I still am triggered by other women's abuse because I walk that road. But the empathy, I can relate. I know what it's like. I know the abuse. I know the cycle of abuse. And I know that it's a ticking time bomb. GBV is not in the space of women empowerment. GBV should be collective consciousness. It should be male, woman, children, everybody. Listen, you treat people the way you want to be treated. It's very primal. If you can't sit down to resolve your issues, you resort to bodily harm, physically harming the person that you love the most. And for me, that's not acceptable. I wasn't raised in a space of being abused or corporate punishment or discipline as such. So when you experience it from an intimate partner, your mind doesn't understand it. And now when I speak to other women and I relate to their stories, I am the beacon of hope. There is life after. And the truth of the matter is, staying might be easy financially, but you will live in a body bag. It will have cost implications beyond monetary. Your children are impacted. It affects you years later. So going back to your question, GBV needs to be eradicated. This is a conscious collective movement that, listen, we've gone past the primal age of men hitting women and all of the rest. Why can't we sit, discuss, resolve with mediation if necessary? But there are the tools out there. And if there is something worth salvaging, go for the professional resources, go for counseling, try to eradicate it. Substance abuse plays a huge role in this. But collectively, we make an impact. It's not in the space of women empowerment. So GBV, yes, I encountered. Yes, I survived. But I also advocate. And I make the change.
Okay. Wow. You've been a leader to other women. You're empowering other women. This is also an entrepreneurial journey. And I know you as a baker turned beauty queen. You had your own company, Indulge Sweet Treats. How's your journey moving from maybe one company to the other? Are you fearless? Do you think you're fearless? Is it, for other women that wants to start a business, what does it take for that to happen?
Tenacity. Plain down, the universe favors a brave, bold heart. You feel your feels and you do it anyway. Do you know? Build momentum. Consistency is key. Work on your dreams relentlessly. Do not stop. And when you know anything in life is achievable, your passion, and this I believe is pivotal. Yes, I am the baker turned beauty queen. This all started out as me being dubbed the macaron queen. That pushed me into pageantry where my why constantly changed. And sitting as a director now, my why is to create a platform where other women find a sisterhood, find empowerment, and also understand their true worth to society by making a community impact. So any business, if it is purpose-driven and passion-fueled, with consistency as key, you can achieve anything in this world. And you should aim for anything.
Absolutely. In terms of well-being, have you done anything in your personal life that you can advocate for? Is there tools or techniques that you've used over the years that you can say, you know what, this has really helped me? You said you normally look at yourself as a victim, you're a survivor, you want to thrive, you're stopping identifying with the past. Some people find that difficult. How do you stop identifying with the past? This happened to me 10 years ago or 15 years ago. And usually people are so identified with what happened to them, they're not present enough to see that their life can change. What made that transition in your life?
I realized very, very early in life that I had the power to create my own destiny. And I used universal law. I realized that the world will impact you, but if you are able to be grounded and sound in your being and true to your authentic self, and stay motivated in that space, you are able to create. But the tools, I honestly have to tell you, I'd had to do a lot of internal engineering to reach knowing what my worth was to society, not just my children or my partner, but more, how do I impact society as a whole? What's my legacy that I want to leave? And, 1 year ago, it was me doing this advocacy. Today, we started off supranational with 38 contestants. And they went out and they advocate. And sitting at top 25 now, my impact has influenced so many other women to go out and to make a difference. I do meditate. I do try and quieten the noise. I am a very excitable go-getter, many tabs opened, kind of thing. So I do have to stay grounded and centered. And I think when you are able to quieten down the noise and actually just live in the present, you're also able to receive with gratitude. If you're constantly living in a state of not the past, you're never in the present to actually appreciate your blessings. See universal law unfold, see what you're able to manifest, what you're able to create, and go for your dreams. Journaling and evaluating consistently my character, the triggers, the trauma. Listen, all us women at this age are somewhat trauma-based. We went through something, but our beauty lies in our scars. The experience of our pain combined with our purpose and our passion on this platform will take us as branded women and entity into the community where we can impact holistically. And collectively, Supranational's motto is we are stronger in numbers. So we multiply that way.
Cool. That's very cool. We're stronger in numbers. The collective is always more powerful than one individual. And that's how everybody grows and succeeds in life. In terms of advocating for these different platforms, I know that, through your story, you met women through philanthropy and through doing your journey of charity. Is there any special moments that you can tell us about?
I want to tell you, but I'm going to end up in tears. I know this. So there's been many. The truth is the weight of the crown is heavy. We don't understand the meaning of this. I have buried a gran who I adopted for 2 years. I cried like a baby. The loss, knowing your heart can extend beyond your bloodline to actually love and to care for people that can't benefit you any. That is the beauty of the philanthropy. And when you understand that there are women that pioneered before us, and we've reached here on the shoulders of giants. And when you pay homage or tribute to the generations before us, I've lost sarcoma patients that were 16 years old, and I've taken my crown and placed it on her head, and that would be the only opportunity she would ever get. So it impacts you as a human being, as a mother, as a woman, but you understand why you were placed in this role. And I can tell you something. The frequency that this world operates on is actually love. And when you're able to love freely, you're also able to receive that. And there's a lot of healing that happens. And you make peace with your trauma. And you collectively take from a social responsibility. As much as I financially maintained her and went to visit her and had the love, she healed me in ways I never knew was possible. And that is the beauty of advocacy and impact that you have. You can change one person's life and you made a difference.
Incredible. I can see you very emotional, and we all come into this life with a breath, and our last breath is also gonna be something that leaves us.
Piroshan,
Yes.
you're not supposed to have a beauty queen crying and looking ugly on your show. So just so you know. But anyway, it comes from a good place. And this journey, although the medium of beauty and the pageantry medium, which looks so superficial and fickle, and why are you chasing this?
But that's what I want to bring to. People have this visual observation of thinking that maybe on social media you can have a perfect life and things going well, and maybe your family life is good and your business life is good and your social life is incredible. What can you tell us about that? Is that the perception that people should think, that there's perfection through social
Oh,
media?
absolutely not. I don't want that to be the perception that I leave as my lasting legacy. I always want to be, measured by my worth, be measured by my heart and the impact that I have on this world. So it looks very superficial, it looks very fickle, but the truth is there's a journey there, there's an impact there, and there's an advocacy. And when you can understand that the only way we can teach our kids, heal our kids from our trauma, break generational curses. I mean, the truth is, as an Indian woman, I made history, meaning these opportunities are not out there for little Indian girls. It's not a dream they hold. It's a business model that hasn't been something that we've been welcomed in, but also in society. As a married woman in an Indian community, your role is to be a mom, be a provider, do your job, nurture. But what about chasing your dreams? Because if you can empower yourself and better yourself, you're uplifting future generations. Your children get a first-class view on how you can transform pain into purpose and how you can become more than what you ever dreamed possible for your bloodline, your ancestry. I always tell my queens, what we are doing and the steps we are taking now literally was not even fathom. It was beyond comprehension to our ancestors.
I think at the end of the day, we all have a potential, and we have unlocked potential, and you have to discover
Unlimited,
that.
unbridled potential.
Absolutely. We do. We all of us as human beings have this intricate essence of potential, but it's untapped, or we break down so easily because of the environments that we're in. As you said, you wanted to heal your kids, but the reality is, if you're in a family environment that's conscious, where you can grow up in a home where there's arguments and disagreements and abuse, but you've got to change that. Otherwise, you're just replicating all of that behavior from your past, and you're moving it into your own future.
You're just taking...
Yes, like if you were abused, there's a high probability that your children are going to be abused, or they're going to find a relationship where they're going to enter into an abusive relationship. It's unconscious. It can happen. Most people are unaware of it. But you want to change that. You want to become more aware of it, that I don't want this to happen to my own kids. I want them to grow up in a relationship, or to have better relationships with a spouse or a partner. How's your relationship, may I ask, in terms of marriage, and is there ups and downs? How do you navigate that?
The word marriage and ups and downs are synonymous. They work together. There is no such thing as a perfect relationship. I think the secret, or in my experience, in my relationship, is that when we 7 years into it, and when we
I
first
think we need
started,
to clear this up. We are married, right? Because so she's going through our relationship when she's explaining this. If I didn't tell you,
so 7 years ago, when I did engage, and I was still trauma based, and there were a lot of triggers, and you and I both know that the first sign of altercation, there's the door. It's that flight and fright syndrome, and it was like, I want to get divorced. You can leave. I can do this by myself. And it does get better. I think what was pivotal is you allowed me the space to be authentically me. You didn't care about the typical Indian household. You knew that my dreams were bigger than what society expected, and you gave me the opportunity by supporting me not only financially, emotionally, and spiritually. Because I mean, this is the past 3 years in the space of pageantry. It's been a total shock to our system. But
Yeah, I asked you many times, like, what you doing?
what's the
I
purpose?
can't see the vision. I can't see where you're going. You know,
And it was costly.
And yes, it is costly. But usually, and you know, this is why we also I decided to start this podcast, because you don't know where it's going. You don't know what's going to be of it, but you got to start. And as you say, it's that tenacity as an entrepreneur. It's changing your environment, changing the dynamics. And if you don't do all of these things, you can stay stuck. And the world is changing so much currently that I felt that I needed to bring some awareness and some consciousness to what's happening around us. And that's why I'm bringing on people like yourselves who are changing the world, making an impact. And I love that. I love that there is a platform that women are not staying in the shadows, and they want to come into the limelight, and they want to change, and they want to do things greater than themselves. So this is great that this has happened to you, because I love the pain to purpose and where you've come from, because there are many people that go through this in life.
I do want to go back a little bit. And I also want to let you know, when you're unable to love yourself, flaws, warts, and all, and accept who you are, your true self, you will never be able to love another human being. The truth is, the only love you keep is the love you give away. And with that, you know, we navigated 7 years. The first 3 years were hell of a turmoil. It was the adaptation. But I know one thing. I know that when I became volatile, you were my calm. I know that when I didn't understand what was happening, there was a sense of, I got your back. We didn't know the how, but in my world, the how is never meant for you to know. You focus on your why, and the universe will conspire in your favor. So the how for us, we were uncertain of, but we knew what our why was. And we knew that the connection was organic. It was very transparent. And we put down hard, you know, like these are non-negotiables in our relationship. And I would say you need to be able to laugh with your partner. The silliness, the seriousness, the yelling, the truth is, at one stage in my life, I did everything to push you away because that's what I thought I was deserving of. I wasn't worthy to be loved. Now, when I'm able to step into my power, where I'm able to love myself, I'm able to accept your love, even though it's not perfect. But who cares? It's in the imperfection.
That's the problem. It's that you're looking for a perfect relationship, and you know,
there's no such thing as a perfect marriage.
But there's this unconscious understanding that getting married, you know what you're getting into because you think your parents got married, and you look at other people that are married.
Wait, I'm going to pause you.
The reality is nobody knows what marriage is until you are in a marriage.
You know what they say, right? Marriage is just like a walk in the park. It's like Jurassic Park out there. So I think your marriage also needs to be a personal endeavor, not a community or a social. Yeah. You marry the person. You don't really marry all the family ties.
No, you get caught up in traditional aspects, cultural aspects, your individual thinking around what marriage should be, and you want to copy it and you want to say that this is how I'd like it to move forward. But that's not the reality, is because you're meeting somebody that's totally unique, totally different, and you got to learn about them. You got to understand where they come from, where they're going.
Honey, I'm going to be honest. It's very difficult to love a menopausal woman because we don't know what we want on any given day. So
I get that. No, you get that. And yes, there's the ups and downs, and that's part of the relationship. But it's an individual that's got to change. You know that you menopausal, that you're going through whatever you're going through biologically and physically, and that is something that you've also got to be responsible for. In a relationship, yes,
you
can
are
be conscious
accountable.
of it. No, you're accountable for it. Absolutely, you are accountable. It's totally your responsibility. But I think in today's relationship, it's like can be a blame and a hindrance and saying you're the cause of it.
Listen, I want to tell you something. You're both stewing in that marriage together. If things go wrong, two people contributed. So the blame game has to end sooner or later. And the blame game gets you gridlocked. You can't really move forward. And when you really stop fighting the person that you claim to love and surrender to, I'm here, I'm your person, and I'm here for the longevity of this lifetime. I love you, and in loving you, there is a certain service, both ways. And I know that people look at us and it's like, oh my goodness, you are too like chalk and cheese. He's calm and you are excitable, and he chooses the quiet and you want to be main stage, you main character energy. But we work, and nobody says one person is leading. It's the synergy of our marriage that makes us both successful in life. And the nicest thing is when home is strong, when kids are happy and loved. And please, do not get me wrong. Once a month, every month, I still call divorce, okay? When I'm hormonal, but we go through it. You and I both know this. But at the end of the day, we know why we're in it. We know what we stand to lose should we dissolve this. And we choose each other every day, even on the hard days. So
I think it's commitment, and you forget that you took, whether it's a vow, whether it's a verbal communication with your partner, is that you're making a commitment in life to another individual. And that requires you to also change. It takes two to tango. And if you don't realize that, you've also got to do the internal work. And I've done that because, I assumed marriage is a particular way, and you get into many different holes that you wish you didn't dig, but the reality is you can be digging it and having the spade yourself.
I think unconsciously you enter into marriage with society's expectations, and then you realize, no, this is my partner and I can create the life I want to as long as they signed up for this, And I'm fully aware I'm not an orthodox wife, and I don't choose to be one. But I also understand that you run my race with me. You're part of my journey. We've jumped on planes. We've seen many stages together. We've gone to many events. I mean, it's been the first for some of them are the first for both of us. Some of them are the first for you. But you were willing to accept the change and the transformation that came from your wife not being entirely yours and a public figure. And you understand how much of my time is split with supranational, international directors, sponsors, and also my queens, because unlike any other director, I am fully hands-on because I want to be the change. So anything in life, including marriage, change is inevitable. Transformation and growth will occur. And you know what? If we can't enjoy each other in our 40s, listen, when we're 90, This is the memories we're going to hold on to. Your body's going to be frail. You can't travel. You can't create these. But live your best life. Marriage is a partnership, but it's not an amalgamation of two people's lives becoming one individual. You live and you serve your purpose, and I live and I serve my purpose. And we come together and we complement each other's lives. We're there to support each other. We're also there to call each other's crap out. Like, listen, but that's not happening. I mean, many times you've questioned my why. It's only, I think, 3 years into this, and 6 months ago you came to me and it's like, I get it.
No,
I know why. So any relation, I think the most difficult thing in this lifetime is to maintain your relationships, all relationships.
Communication is very important, becoming conscious and aware over it. Your personal well-being and your responsibility to yourself is very important. It is Mental Health Awareness Month as well. So you've got to advocate for some type of way of teaching people, empowering women, doing all of these things. Mrs. Supranational is a huge platform that you've created for women. Your event is in a few weeks' time.
20th June.
20th of June.
Vodacom World. Come, everybody.
Yes, you can give us the handles, the tickets, in terms of which platforms they can go on to get tickets for all of that day. Once this is done and the journey is completed, what's the next step for Lee-Ann? What does she want to create for the future, for what you want to achieve?
Supranational has had phenomenal success in a very short space of time. We worked hard. We created collectively. The queens came on board. The sponsors came on board.
You have some great sponsors. Maybe you can tell us about them.
Lamborghini Wines is our headline sponsor. It is the original Lamborghini family that did the cars. They did vineyards and wines initially. The vineyard is in Italy. They are now making inroads into the whole of Africa. So the brand, it's a luxury lifestyle. And we can all aspire to that level of opulence. It's within our grasp. The tickets are available on Mrs. Supranational South Africa SA.co.za. Click the links and follow the prompts. You'll get your tickets. For me, it's not only about creating success for myself. I realized that the fastest way to attract success or make your dreams manifest and become a reality is to help other people work and materialize their dreams. So Supranational started off with me and mentors. My mentors have gone on to become directors. Face of the Universe, Mrs. Grand South Africa. We have taken on Mrs. Cosmo and Mrs. Intercontinental, with Supranational leading in this whole space as the umbrella. And everything goes under this umbrella.
Yeah.
So for me, it's about collective empowerment. It's about what I created for myself to create the opportunity for other women, especially my team. Okay. I'm going to be a little bit cheeky and say, I do want an international pageant. South Africa is beautiful and we can host. So we can showcase this. It boosts tourism. To be quite honest, the saddest thing about pageantry in South Africa is that there's no regulations. There is no board that we all subscribe to. So with that, we're really not backed by government much. And yet it is a major, major tourism event. So I would love to partner up with tourism, with so much more to actually host South Africa's first international pageant.
you can leave your handles, and then hopefully people engage or companies engage with you, and then you can see how it blossoms from there. I don't know if is there anything that you'd like to advocate for in terms of what Lee-Ann would want to see change in the world, change in yourself if you continuously evolving as
So
a
you,
human
you hit
being.
the nail on the head. You started it with change. Change is inevitable. So is death and taxes. You know, so with this being said, embrace the change. There's a greater version of you that is ready to emerge. And I know why the future is not for us to know, because sometimes, just sometimes, if you do the work hard enough, your future is beyond your own comprehension in such a vast aspect that if 3 years ago you came to me and you told me, Lee, you're going to be a national title holder, I was like, no. You're gonna take an international title and make history. You're gonna be a national director. I would have told you, no, not me. I'm in the kitchen. You know, I'm grateful for the journey. I'm grateful for the opportunity, for every woman that poured into my cup, for every woman that drinks off my saucer, for every person that I can impact in a small way, whether it's a smile, whether it's an act of kindness, whether it's hard knock learning, you know, like, listen here, you're going to do it this way. But the intention is always pure. And when you are intentionally driven and you stay true to the core being, because I can tell you one thing, Lee-Ann can evolve and transform and grow, but her true core and the principles that fundamentally make me will always be true to my core principles. And that would never change, regardless of the fame, the success. You know,
How do you understand what your core values and principles are? What are your core values and principles?
I'm big on integrity. I'm very, very big on the fact that your authentic self, don't waver and change who you are in a society that doesn't know what its standards are. Beauty standards change every day. You know, the trends, we in a society where internet trends and virals are going around. But how do you stay grounded and focused on what your purpose is? My purpose is, I'm a mother. I'm a wife. I'm a woman. I'm a leader. I'm an entrepreneur. But all these are just titles. The core human being will always be that. And when you understand the change is inevitable, the growth, the transformation, aging will happen.
But this happens in societies that we get to where we define ourselves by the title or positions that we hold, and we don't understand what our core values are first. And that's more significant than a
You know, this
title and a
beautiful,
position.
shiny crown, its validity is only a year. But the legacy that crown will create is a lifetime. I've been offered recrowning to enter again. I will never do it again. I've achieved what I wanted to get directorship, to lead a force of women that are willing to embrace the change, that are willing to go against their core systems. I won't say core beliefs, but core systems in what was defined by the world for us. To push yourself, to stretch yourself, and to realize something. I am bendable. I'm not broken. And no matter how I adapt in my environment, I will survive. And when you can understand, trials and tribulations will come, whether you're rich, poor, successful, have titles, don't have titles. It's how you're able to take it and navigate through it with integrity. I also believe that do right, you know, in your everyday living. You have no idea who is watching you, and they are watching. Fairness and transparency is something that is pivotal, because success can't be built on a shaky foundation where you don't have all the know-hows. So for me, be true to yourself. Be tenacious and brave to fight for. I say fight, but it's not a physical fight, because sometimes it's an internal fight. You actually, it's a tug of war in your brain. Can I do it? Can't I do it? But if you never try.
It's like imposter syndrome, but you're overcoming it. At the end of the day, you're saying, okay, yes, I'm going through this doubt and confusion and mental uncertainty, but you're still focused and concentrated on the value that you're going to bring, the impact that you're going to do, the empowerment that you're going to sustain, preserve, because that confusion and syndrome of imposters talking to you, whatever it is, mentally, I think people don't understand that, the voices in our mind, and they think that, and we identify with that. You identify with the thoughts and the voices.
I feel what I feel, and I do it anyway. Nobody says I don't feel the fear. Nobody says I don't feel that total displacement in my gut. But I understand what my purpose is. And for me, I might have thought in my 20s I knew, or in my 30s I knew, but I only found my purpose in my 40s. And when you can show genuine sincerity, people see your heart. And I am a leader that leads with heart. I've also been scrutinized and put under the microscope for sharing so much as a director. But I also know that even in my journeys in pageantry, my special awards was Universal Heart. So I lead with heart. And when you can intentionally know that I'm going to move from point A to point B, driving a purpose, that's an organic transaction, true to who you are.
Thank you so much for coming through. I really appreciate it. And welcome to the Conscious Wellbeing Podcast. Cheers.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. Yeah.